As I sat in the waiting room, nervously fidgeting with my phone, I couldn't help but feel a sense of dread wash over me. The words, cancer diagnosis, kept echoing in my mind, a terrifying phrase that I never thought would apply to me. But here I was, a middle-aged man who had lost interest in life after a painful divorce, now facing a battle against a disease that seemed determined to take everything from me. Little did I know that this diagnosis would lead me down a path I never could have imagined. Life has a funny way of throwing surprises at you, some wrapped in ribbons and others in thorns. After my divorce, I felt as though I was living in a perpetual state of dusk, never fully dark, but never seeing the light either. It was during this twilight of my soul that I stumbled upon an unexpected ray of hope, a bright event that, in hindsight, marked the beginning of a profound transformation. I had taken to aimless wandering on the weekends, trying to fill the void that my divorce had left behind. On one such Saturday, I found myself at a local community event, surrounded by laughter and the kind of joy that felt foreign to me. It was there, amidst the sea of strangers, that I witnessed a dance performance by a group of cancer survivors. Their strength, grace, and unbridled joy, in spite of their battles, struck a chord within me. For the first time in months, I felt a flicker of something akin to hope. It was a poignant reminder that even in the midst of despair, there can be beauty and resilience. This encounter did not immediately dispel the shadows that had taken residence in my heart. But it did plant a seed of curiosity about the strength of the human spirit and the possibility of finding light in the darkest of places. Little did I know, this seed would soon take root in the form of my own cancer diagnosis. The journey ahead would be arduous, but as I navigated the tumultuous waters of treatment and recovery, I would often find myself thinking back to that day. It served as a beacon, guiding me towards a future where hope and love could blossom once again, even in the most unlikely of circumstances. Bright sunlight streamed through the doctor's office window, casting a warm glow on the plants lined up on the sill and giving the room a serene atmosphere. It was a stark contrast to the storm of emotions brewing inside me as I awaited my test results. That morning, as I walked through the park, I remember the way the dew on the grass sparkled under the early sun, reminding me of brighter days. I took it as a sign, hoping for good news, clinging to the sliver of optimism that had become a rare visitor in my life since the divorce. Little did I know, the day was about to unfold in a way that would alter the course of my existence forever. When the doctor entered the room, his demeanor was calm, yet there was a gravity in his eyes that immediately set off alarm bells in my mind. As he began to speak, his words initially seemed to float around me, disconnected from the reality I was prepared to accept. "I'm sorry to inform you, but the tests have come back positive for cancer." At that moment, time seemed to slow down, each word echoing in my mind, creating a chasm that threatened to swallow me whole. The irony of finding myself in the healthiest-looking room I'd been in for months, only to receive the most devastating news of my life, wasn't lost on me. The shock of the diagnosis was a jolt to my system, a rude awakening from the numbness that had enveloped me post-divorce. Yet, amidst the fear and uncertainty, there was an undeniable spark of resolve that ignited within me. It was a turning point, marking the end of one life chapter and the beginning of another, fraught with challenges but also glimmering with the faint, yet unmistakable, possibility of renewal and growth. This diagnosis, although a harbinger of a daunting journey ahead, unknowingly paved the way for a connection that would redefine my understanding of strength, hope, and love. My journey through cancer treatment started not with a sense of despair, but with an unexpected moment of clarity and determination. On the morning of my first chemotherapy session, the sun broke through the clouds in a spectacular display, its rays piercing the early mist in a way that felt almost symbolic. It was as though the universe was reminding me that there is light even on the darkest days. Armed with this sign, I stepped into the hospital, ready to face my battle head-on. The initial phase of treatment was like navigating through a storm without a compass. The relentless waves of nausea, fatigue, and pain tested my resolve, but within me burned a flicker of defiance, fueled by that sunrise. Each day, I would remind myself of the beauty that exists in the world, of the reasons to fight, and of the light I saw that morning. The rhythm of my treatments became the new normal, a series of ups and downs where time seemed both to crawl and race by. The hospital's sterile, buzzing environment became a battleground where I, alongside warriors battling their own fights, waged war against our common enemy. It was in this unlikely place that the depth of human resilience and the strength of spirit became evident to me. During the toughest moments when the side effects of chemotherapy seemed insurmountable, I found solace in the stories of those around me. Their courage, humor, and unwavering hope in the face of adversity served as a beacon, guiding me through my darkest hours. It was a profound reminder that we are never truly alone in our struggles, that shared experiences can forge bonds stronger than steel. As I navigated through the maelstrom of treatment, I held onto the belief that this was merely a chapter in my life, not the entirety of my story. With each passing day, I grew stronger not just in body but in spirit. The battle was hard-fought, but it was in this crucible of adversity that I discovered my inner resilience and the capacity for renewal. In the sterile expanse of the chemotherapy room, where the hum of machines filled the air, I encountered an unexpected beacon of light. It was on one of those days when the weight of my diagnosis felt particularly crushing, and the familiar sense of isolation crept in, threatening to engulf me. I was lost in a sea of thoughts when she sat in the chair next to mine. Her presence, marked by a quiet grace, pierced through my solitude like a ray of sunshine breaking through a relentless storm. We didn't speak at first. The only communication was the occasional exchange of glances that conveyed a depth of understanding words often failed to capture. It was the shared experience of our battle against cancer that eventually broke the ice, leading to the first tentative exchanges of our stories. She introduced herself with a soft voice that carried a strength I found myself drawn to, her sad smile revealing a resilience that mirrored my own. As the infusion pumps chattered in the background, our conversation flowed more freely. We spoke of our journeys through the wilderness of illness, of the fears that haunted our nights, and of the flickers of hope that sustained us through our darkest hours. In that sterile room, amidst the beeping machines and the faint smell of antiseptic, a connection was forged. It was as if fate had orchestrated this encounter, bringing us together at a moment when the need for understanding and companionship was most acute. The session ended, but the bond that had begun to take shape between us promised the start of something new. In her, I found not just a fellow warrior in the fight against cancer, but a companion who understood the language of my struggles and dreams. It was an encounter that marked the beginning of a journey neither of us could have anticipated, a glimmer of light in the midst of our shared darkness. As our treatments became a recurring rhythm in our lives, so did the moments shared between us in the chemo room. Our initial exchanges, once tentative and laced with the heaviness of our situation, evolved into a source of mutual support and understanding. We started looking forward to those moments, finding solace in each other's company amidst the clinical, often impersonal, backdrop of our battlegrounds. The adversity we faced seemed to carve out a space for our friendship to flourish. With each session, we delved deeper into conversations about not just our treatments and fears, but also our pasts, our dreams deferred, and the newfound perspectives cancer had thrust upon us. It was in these conversations that I realized how much she had come to mean to me, how her resilience inspired me, and how her laughter, even in the face of such adversity, could light up the dreariest of days. Our bond was a testament to the fact that even the most formidable challenges could be faced with someone by your side. We were two people who had once felt isolated in their struggles, finding a kindred spirit in one another. The gravity of our situation never waned, but the weight felt lighter with her to share it. We began to find small ways to make the other smile, whether it was through a shared joke, a comforting word during a particularly tough session, or simply holding hands in silence, offering strength in our presence. These small acts of kindness and understanding became the pillars upon which our relationship was built, transforming the adversity we faced into the foundation of a deep and meaningful connection. Amid the relentless cycles of treatment, where days blurred into one another and the cold clinical environment of the hospital became all too familiar, the concept of joy seemed distant, almost foreign. Yet, in the midst of this battle, an unexpected transformation began to unfold, one that taught me the profound beauty of finding joy in the small things. It started subtly, a shared laugh over a ridiculous joke, the kind that only seemed funny in the face of adversity. Then it evolved into shared smiles at the sight of a blooming flower in the hospital garden, a reminder of life's persistent march forward, even in the harshest of conditions. Our conversations, once dominated by the gravity of our situation, began to weave in stories of our pasts, dreams we had tucked away, and small victories we experienced day by day. These moments of connection, of genuine human interaction, became beacons of light in an otherwise daunting journey. We celebrated the good days with a cup of coffee from the hospital cafeteria, savoring its warmth as if it were the finest gourmet blend. We found laughter in the absurdity of hospital gowns, in the quirks of our fellow patients, and in the shared understanding that despite everything, life could still bring moments of unexpected happiness. This shift in perspective, from focusing solely on the monumental to appreciating the minute, opened my eyes to a new way of living. Each small joy became a victory, a defiance against the darkness that had once seemed all-consuming. It was in these fragments of happiness that I discovered not just the strength to continue, but the ability to truly live, despite the specter of cancer that loomed over us. As days turned into weeks and weeks into months, the grueling pace of treatments began to show glimmers of yielding fruitful outcomes. It wasn't a sudden revelation, but a gradual dawning that the battle we were jointly entrenched in was leading us toward brighter days. The subtle shifts were first noticeable in the easing of side effects, the gentle return of strength on days that once were dominated by fatigue, and a growing sense of vitality that seemed to whisper promises of a life reclaimed. Our shared journey through the valleys of illness and up the slopes of recovery began to bear the fruit of shared optimism. We celebrated every positive update from our doctors, each one a stepping stone away from the shadow of cancer and toward the light of a new beginning. It was during this phase that the essence of hope transformed from a flickering candle into a roaring fire, fueling our spirits with the belief that we were not just surviving, but thriving, overcoming the odds stacked against us. The physical markers of our recovery were paralleled by the emotional and spiritual renewal we experienced. The bond that had formed in the crucible of our shared struggle was now being fortified in the warmth of healing. each shared story, each moment of laughter, each quiet reflection, weaving an ever-stronger fabric of connection between us. This period of recovery was not just about the mending of our bodies, but about the blossoming of our spirits. It was a testament to the resilience of the human heart and the incredible capacity for renewal that dwells within us all. Together, we walked this road, hand in hand, each step forward a declaration of our determination to embrace the fullness of life, with its myriad challenges and joys, as partners in every sense. As our treatments gradually drew to a close, a sense of anticipation enveloped us both, not just for the end of our medical journeys, but for the beginning of a new life together. We realized that the bond we had formed, tempered through adversity and illuminated by mutual compassion, was not merely a byproduct of circumstance, but the foundation for a future we both yearned to build. It was during a quiet, reflective moment, under the soft glow of a sunset that seemed to mirror the hopeful close of one chapter and the vibrant start of another, that we made a decision. Together, we chose to embark on a new path, hand in hand, with the lessons of our past and the dreams for our future guiding us forward. The decision was not made lightly, nor was it made without a deep understanding of the fragility of life. Yet it was this very knowledge, that every moment is precious and that love, once found, should be embraced with open arms, that sealed our resolve. We committed to each other, promising to cherish the days of health and to support each other through any storms that may lie ahead, with the same strength and grace that had brought us through our battles with cancer. As we stepped into this new chapter, it wasn't just about leaving behind the hospital visits and the uncertainty of illness. It was about stepping into a shared existence, filled with the possibility of joy, growth, and the continuous discovery of each other and the world around us. With love as our cornerstone, we were ready to face the future together, whatever it might hold. As I look back on this winding path that fate unexpectedly set me upon, I'm struck by a profound sense of gratitude and wonder. There was a time when the shadows of my divorce and cancer diagnosis loomed so large that they blotted out the sun from my sky. Yet, it was within this darkness that I stumbled upon a glimmer of light, a chance encounter in the chemotherapy room that evolved into an unbreakable bond with the woman who would redefine the essence of my existence. Our journey was not easy. It was fraught with challenges that tested our resilience, our spirit, and our faith in the future. But as we navigated each obstacle, we discovered that the strength we drew from each other was far mightier than the sum of our individual struggles. Together, we transformed our battles with cancer into a crusade for hope, for life, and for love. This voyage has taught me invaluable lessons about the beauty of human connection and the undying spirit of hope. It has shown me that even in the face of overwhelming adversity, there is always a possibility for renewal and joy. The love that blossomed between us in the most unlikely of circumstances serves as a reminder that sometimes, the most profound connections are forged in the crucible of shared hardship. Reflecting on this journey, I am filled with a deep-seated appreciation for every moment, every challenge, and every triumph that brought us to where we are today. The path ahead is filled with the promise of new adventures, shared dreams, and the continued exploration of this beautiful life we've reclaimed together. Our journey, initiated by a shared battle with cancer, evolved into a profound exploration of hope and love's transformative power. When faced with life's most daunting trials, it was this unexpected partnership that illuminated our path. Through each phase of treatment, through every moment of uncertainty, we discovered strength not just within ourselves, but in each other. This connection, born out of shared adversity, became our beacon of hope, a testament to the idea that even in the depths of despair, love can emerge to guide us toward the light. It's astonishing how love, coupled with unwavering hope, can not only sustain us but propel us forward, crafting a future filled with possibilities once thought unimaginable. As I reflect on this odyssey from darkness to light, I'm overwhelmed by gratitude for the journey and the incredible power of love and hope to redefine our lives. This story, our story, underscores a simple, yet profound truth. Together, with love and hope as our allies, we can conquer even the mightiest of storms.